Hello, everyone. It's Rosemary again from Good Journeys Tarot. And today we are beginning my depth year by looking at the Eight of Earth, also known as the Eight of Pentacles, the Eight of Coins, the Eight of Disc, in some cases, even the Eight of Stones, the Eight of Crystals. Um, and I'm sure there are other suits that have been used over the years for it in various decks. Today, we're going to be specifically looking at the Thoth, the Marseille, the RWS, and then I'm going to show you some of my favorite depictions of the card from other decks and talk a little bit about them as well. So, generally speaking, this card is the card of apprenticeship. This is the card of being dedicated to your skill and improving your skill. So let's flip around the camera and let's take a look at the cards that I have to show you today. Here we have the Eight of Disc from the Thoth. Now, the Thoth to me is in some ways very limiting because of the keywords on it and the fact that some of the cards are a bit pippish. You tend to want to read them based on the keyword. The truth is that most of the cards that I've studied so far in the Thoth are a specific element of what we see in other tarot decks. So, for example, this idea of prudence is one to me that is seen in the RWS when you talk about your skill and about working diligently to achieve the level of skill that you need to become a master. And so prudence is a part of this card. But when you look at this card, all you can think is prudence because, well, it says it on the card. The idea that because of your prudence now, your seeds have grown and flourished to become a full-grown plant. For me, the Marseille, the eights are about movement. In this case, movement via your finances or your job. And in that way, really relates to this imagery in the RWS as well, because it is about movement, going through the steps necessary to achieve what you need to achieve. As I had said before, we're going to be looking at the Wild Wood because I am doing my depth year going through the Wild Wood, and I'm doing this in the order of the Wild Wood, i.e. this is the card associated with January 4th through January 12th on the Wheel of the Year as the Wild Wood depicts it. Now, generally speaking, in the tarot, like the RWS and the Thoth, you would associate this with the astrological correspondence, which is Sun in Virgo, which would be August 23rd to September the 1st, that very first part of Virgo in the Sun. And so that's probably really the only difference. The idea, the concept is still the same in the Wild Wood as in the RWS, and that is a person diligently working to craft and to create. Basically getting lost in their work in the wee hours as the lights burn. And that's really the idea of this card. It is all about being detail-oriented, patient, prudent, diligent, making progress, being productive. It's about your work ethic, your talent, and your proficiency at your talent, where you are in growing your talent. Some of the downsides of this card, if it's reversed, you might find that it depicts perfectionism or a lack of focus or interest, burnout. You may be letting other people do the work for you. You might be unreliable. You may be careless and make mistakes. Let's take a moment and look at some of my favorite eights of Earth.
This is from the Lily White Tarot, the Bee. The bee is definitely a hard worker, a diligent worker, working hard to build a home, provide food, etc., for itself and its colony. Um, and that's one of the things about this card. It can depict your own career, but it also can depict things that you're passionate about as much as the type of work that you do. Here is the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. This is a wonderful depiction by Benabel Wynn of an apprentice or journeyman, as some would call it. And this brings up an interesting point. In reading the 78 Days of Tarot, or Around the World, around the Tarot in 78 Days by Marcus Katz and Tolly Goodwin, I believe. Yes. They associate this card with the Journeyman and the Three of Pentacles or Orbs or Earth or whatever you want to call it, with the Apprentice. While almost all of my other sources that I've studied associate the Three of Pentacles with mastery, i.e., someone receiving recognition from their work. Whereas in this case, it's someone still diligently trying to perfect their skill. In this card, they talk about how this is the master staff, and this is the perfection of what the craft, and this is what this person is working towards, having made some and even has one in their mind, how they'll improve it the next time. And so I thought that's a lovely depiction as well. The Slow Tarot is probably one of my favorites, and it's probably because it depicts a butterfly. It's actually the life cycle of a butterfly in stained glass, and there's this family diligently working together to build this stained glass window, and you can see they've made it through 7 of the frames in the life cycle of a butterfly, and the woman here is holding the last one. I thought this was a beautiful depiction. I think in some ways that the cards, such as this one, and even this one to an extent, are more representative of the 8 of Earth, because it's depicting the creation of the same thing repeatedly, trying to perfect it. Whereas this one depicts a cycle. And in doing some reading about the Thoth, there is an association of this particular geometric shape with the moon. So in some way, perhaps this card is associated with cycles as well, which gives me an idea of how I might like to depict this card myself. The things that I love to see in this type of card are obviously the idea of working to perfect one's skill. I also like this idea of depicting the cycle, and it's something that I'm considering as I look at creating a card for myself. So those are some of my thoughts on the 8 of Earth, as it were, whether you refer to them as disc, coins, pentacles, crystals, stones. It is about diligence. It's about putting the effort in to master your craft, which is really what I'm trying to do with my depth year. It's a fitting card to start off with, even if it is not the first card in the tarot. This is Rosemary, and until next time, good journeys.